Hi, everybody. I'm delighted to be here as Managing Director of GCV to introduce you to the new GCV Institute. I'm delighted to be joined by Liz Arrington and Rob Coppedge. Liz is a partner at Bell Mason Group and co-founder of the GCV Institute, and Rob is CEO of Echo Health Ventures. He also sits on the GCV Institute Advisory Board and was kind enough to send a number of his team through the recent pilot course that we just completed. So today we're just going to give you a brief sort of overview of the GCV Institute vision. Liz is then going to talk to you about the pilot and the curriculum for 2021 and the look ahead. And Rob's going to give some comments from an IAB perspective. So really, for me, the GCV Institute sits right at the heart of the sort of principles of providing information, insights, and access, which in turn really builds, scales, and enables such a thriving CVC and innovation community that GCV has been developing. So it's a very natural kind of extension for the company to be launching the Institute. And we're going to be fostering even deeper levels of engagement, collaboration, and knowledge transfer within the community. This notion of by CVCs, for CVCs, is our collective ambition for the Institute to really further enable and support, as well as strengthen the key role that corporations play within the wider innovation ecosystem. And in doing so, that's really going to help GCV to continue to fulfill its broader mission to bring together the leading investors, corporations, entrepreneurs, and executives to build the innovative technologies and companies that will define and shape the world of tomorrow. So together with our partners at Bell Mason Group and with you, the industry leaders, we really do have the opportunity to not only further shape and influence the corporate venturing industry advancement, but also ensure longevity and sustained innovation ecosystem impact. So whether live online or face-to-face, our ambition is over time is to build and deliver an institute that speaks to the full spectrum of the corporate venturing program landscape. The Institute is going to have a really robust and compelling curriculum with global reach. We're going to provide professional development and corporate venture team functions, as well as foundational corporate venture common language and context for effective parent and external stakeholder engagement. We're going to be building on the track record of the GCV Academy and the end-to-end investing principles of the Bell Mason Group, in order that the GCV Institute will really underpin and power the future of corporate venturing. Now, the pilot and the launch that we're doing now really brings together 2 years worth of collaboration between BMG and GCV. And this really started with the sort of founding vision of Heidi Mason, Liz Arrington, and Jim Mawson when they collaborated on the Corporate Venture Capital Survival Guide book that I know many of you still read and refer to in your day-to-day. The Institute Venture team that we've assembled combines corporate venture, industry and adult education and online delivery expertise, and we'll be soon to be launching our learning management system to complement the curriculum as well as the community build. So I'm going to hand over to Liz, but before I do so, I just want to extend a big thank you to the Institute Advisory Board and also the members of the Leadership Society and wider industry who have been really fundamental in helping us to get to the point where we are today. So Liz, over to you.
Great. Thank you. I'd like to now quickly give you a lightning tour of the Institute pilot course, as well as the curriculum look ahead for 2021 and beyond. And as James noted, with the support of the Institute Advisory Board, in Q4 of last year, we piloted a first deep dive course focused on the corporate venture business development function and its integral parent touch points. And we saw this as a critical topic, particularly in pandemic times, and one that wasn't really addressed by other VC-focused programs. And the pilot was designed to test deep dive content, to test our educational approach, as well as to test the live online delivery format. And we were delighted to have a pilot class representing a range of IAB members who contributed both participants and their leadership expertise through videos, through panels and mentors. And each company sent a pod of 2 to 4 participants that included parent representatives as well as senior cross-functional team members who were selected for the ability both to derive value from the course as well as to contribute value to us for future course improvements. And here's a map of the 3-month learning journey for the course. It was designed, based on proven adult learning principles, and it was structured so that the flow was to prepare participants to learn new concepts, to immerse them in content and expert examples, and then to have them apply what they learned in an on-the-job challenge phase. And this mentored on-the-job challenge is really a key hallmark of the course. Each pod was nominated by their CV program lead, who approved a challenge that was designed to have participants apply the course concepts in challenges that represented both personal development opportunities as well as opportunities for broader CV program impact. And each of the pods was assigned an experienced mentor to advise them along the way. To give you a sense of what we did during the 3 days, Immerse consisted of 3 intensive sessions. The first focusing on CV fundamentals, moving into deeper dives on powering end-to-end investing, and then ultimately how to deliver portfolio value. It employed a highly interactive module structure designed to keep the group engaged. We started by reviewing and presenting key industry concepts and models. Then we illustrated the concepts with expert videos and panels. And then we gave participants the opportunities to break out and to talk about how these concepts might apply in the context of their own programs. It was challenging to learn how to manage this all live online, but we have an amazing producer that did a tremendous job keeping things all flowing. The expert videos were seen as really among the most valuable components of the course. As you can see, we have a tremendous mix of industry luminaries who generously contributed their time to telling their stories. Each provided between 7 and 10-minute targeted videos or participated in 45-minute panels that really brought these insights and these concepts to life. And each of the videos was accompanied by a key takeaways document that went into a repository along with all of these other reference materials that we provided for the course. It's really the start of a beautiful Institute archive. And another set of contributors were our all-star expert mentor pool. And we're planning to continue to grow this for future courses, but see this as one of the real differentiators and one of the opportunities for program leads and experts to give back to the community. Some of the key design tenets of GCV Institute courses are to make them actionable, as well as to create connections that will allow participants both to learn from one another, as well as to learn from these experts. And we were fortunate to have a hugely valuable group of mentors from established programs, and they made time commitments averaging around 8 hours over a 6-week period. And as you can see, participants picked some pretty compelling challenges, starting with creating more strategic role for the program, seamlessly integrating investment and business development functions, optimizing the landing pipeline, and addressing the ever-popular communicating strategic impact challenge. But a key learning that came out of this class for us and out of its multifunctional makeup was that it was validation that a common language and industry context is really critical to the effective communications and the working relationships that drive CV program value and impact. And we pretty consistently heard that you can't just assume that parent partners, whether it's business units or innovation or R&D, really understand how the CV program can contribute to their objectives, or that they understand how to work with startups effectively. And we also heard that even cross-functional members of the same CV team may be speaking slightly different languages and may be missing opportunities to leverage and to integrate strategic components, process components, and data. And I'm sure all of you know this intuitively, and I'm sure you're working on it, but this experience confirmed for us that there's a real need for shared understanding of the essentials of corporate venturing, and that this is particularly true given the frequent organizational changes and the broad scale of the parent relationships needed at the mid-management levels and the operating levels, in addition to the executives levels. So in response, in addition to the initial Landing the Value of Corporate Venturing course, today we are announcing the Essential Series, and these are foundational courses that are designed to introduce corporate venturing language and illustrate key industry concepts via expert case studies, models, tools, and intra-program networking opportunities. We're looking at launching 2 flavors of the Essentials. The first is Essentials for Enterprise, which is essentially an introduction to corporate venturing and to innovation partnering. And this is really targeted at parent representatives who need to understand the basics to build CB team and startup partnerships that deliver on their objectives. And it's also for CB programs who are thinking about building corporate venture business development functions and bringing new team members on board. CVC Essentials, the second flavor, is an introduction to strategic investing to corporate venture capital. And we see this targeted at corporations that are planning to start venturing programs, or people who are new to corporate venturing teams, or it may be senior executives who are overseeing the corporate venturing group. And we see both of these courses as being relevant to shared services professionals who are providing specialist support to the CB programs and really need to understand where corporate venturing processes need to be different from corporate standard operating processes. And both of the courses are going to mirror the educational approach that we tested and refined through the LVCB pilot. We'll be using guest expert stories to illustrate the key concepts. We'll be providing framing models and also providing opportunities for participants to engage and to compare and contrast. Essentials for Enterprise we see as being a short course, probably 4 hours live online, and it could potentially be combined with corporate venturing program orientation materials, so it might be customizable. And as many participants are not likely to be corporate venturing professionals, we see that this course will really communicate the basic value of the parent, BU, and CB program partnership by interweaving these key concepts into expert stories that address both the benefits and the requirements of these partnerships. The goal is really to tell the story from different perspectives, integrating the CB teams, the parents, and the startups, and introducing increasingly advanced terms and essentially pulling the string all the way through the end-to-end investment story. The CVC Essentials course we see as being 2 days or 8 hours live online. And the program focus for this is really to understand what needs to be considered to design, to build, and to operate a professional investment program that is both impactful and sustainable over time. And this is going to integrate proven GCV Academy content with the CVSG, or the Corporate Venture Survival Guide best practice program maturity phases. And looking forward, the Institute has a really ambitious roadmap. We're planning to offer 3 tiers of courses designed to address both the critical functions within the CV teams, as well as the key parent and external touch points that are needed to ensure that real value is delivered. As we mentioned, the first tier, the Essentials, is designed to introduce the corporate venturing language and illustrate the key concepts. The second tier, the deep dive based on the LVCB model, we see really addressing the key corporate venturing team professional functions and integral partners. These are 3-month deep dive courses, and they include an industry challenge practicum along with an industry mentor. And then our third tier of courses are what we're calling the hot topics. And these are essentially corporate venturing continuing education offerings. Advanced courses, specialty courses targeting both functions and programs. The first one that we're looking to launch in Q3 is a CVC Board Observer course that has come out as being everyone's top priority. And then finally, the last element of the Institute is a key goal for all the courses and for the broader Institute is to create a powerful Institute community that integrates alumni, mentors, and CV practitioner experts. we're excited to start building the first community of practice around CVPD. And we're in the process of developing a rich suite of community tools and offers, including a community platform, invitation-only networking events, topical webinars, and access to specialist content like the case studies and the videos and all those sorts of things. So now I'd like to, at this lightning tour, let's spend a minute talking to Rob Coppedge of Echo Health Ventures.
It's adventurism.
He was a charter IAB member, and whose world-class multi-LP CVC program has really been invaluable to us in developing the Institute as thought partners, as experts, as mentors, and as value-adding participants. So Rob, welcome, and thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, for the past couple of years, we've talked about the rising influence and the power of CVCs, and you said once to me that now is really the opportunity for CVCs to have agency within syndicates of institutional sponsors, and to move from the passenger seat to the driver's seat. So, what role would you see the GCV Institute playing to empower CVC programs?
Oh, yeah. No, this is a really exciting time for CVCs generally. And there's so many examples in the past few years of how specific programs are establishing best practices, how they are really collectively raising the game for our industry. And my hope for the Institute is it is a critical part of solidifying those advances. And what I mean by that is, one of the biggest challenges we have is how do we get our team, as we're able to hire more and better, investors and folks on the business development side who come from other parts of the industry, either from traditional venture capital, private equity, or consulting. How do they learn our playbook such that they are able to be successful inside the weird world that is multi-stakeholder corporate venture, which has its own set of its equal parts consulting and advisory and diplomacy, and nobody teaches those skills. I think back to venture capital 15, 20 years ago, as I was getting started, they were just beginning to launch the academic study of that business. And so that helped to solidify what had been a craft and turn it into a real profession. And I think in the case of corporate venture, we are ready to step up to make that shift ourselves from being sort of all of us figuring it out in our corners and our silos to collectively learning from each other and getting the benefit of that would help to accelerate all of our programs. So my hope is we build a great network out of this that we can all call on and draw upon as we advance our programs, and that we create shared playbooks that help each of us advance our programs based upon our collective learnings.
And you sent a team made up of both parents and ECHO team members to the LVCV pilot. What did you see as being the benefits and the results for your team?
Well, we picked them specifically because we have multiple corporate parents, so we wanted to find opportunities to help those parents get more involved in our work, kind of see it from our shoes. So we picked key stakeholders from the two health plans that own our joint venture, as well as an up-and-coming leader from our team. And so just having that shared experience amongst the three of them was of value itself. But then the developing of a common language, as you said earlier, between the three of them, so they understood how to talk about the work that had to happen on all sides, huge benefit in that. Final thing I'd say is already we're seeing the benefits coming back into our organization from the best practices sharing and benchmarking our team member was able to do through the mentorship she received from George, from the exposure she got to other programs. That's been immediately accretive to our program internally.
And you've ended up with a relationship with IQT as well.
It's great. Well, I've always respected that program so much. And George, in fact, we're going to be spending time with him this afternoon as we have our teams meet each other. So a very exciting opportunity for networking across the industry.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Rob. I will send you back to James.
Thanks.
Yeah. Thanks, Rob. Thanks, Liz. Next steps on the Institute. If you've got any questions, just ask the GCV staff member or get in touch with your usual contacts there, or go to the GCV website where you can find out more information.